Hello, so this is vlog number 4. So this is also during the chapter that we're doing the first essay. So in reading pop culture, the essay that first starts off that caught my eye was about Jones explaining his childhood and how violence in the media and other sources can essentially be beneficial to children in the long run, children growing up actually, in figuring it out for themselves or just figuring it out in general. Obviously, being a parent is not easy and stuff like that, especially if you're a first time parent, obviously, and it can be very difficult. And all parents do want to protect their children, they don't want them to get sick, they don't want them to, have to face like really hard life decisions until they really need to. Although this might be a little bit too restrictive on some children, and parents can need to also figure out how to learn to parent their kids while, growing with their child as well. So instead of trying to fit the perfect mold of being the perfect child, like they're all all perfect and stuff like that. The thing is, nobody is perfect, and you do have to learn, especially as a kid, how social skills work, and just, how to be a decent human being and have common sense. So, especially with the violence and stuff like that, many violent things, that happen in the media and stuff like that. When children see these things in the media, they may think that, like it's okay. But in turn, if you are the parent, you could let your children watch these things and then explain to them and educate them on why it is not okay to be doing these such violent things. Like there are a lot of superhero movies, and especially me growing up, there are a lot of violent, like, crime movies that depict Black people in such a light that is very negative in a sense. So you know it just really depends on who you are. I grew up in a sense that, like, I learned about my own culture and violence, especially with my parents and stuff like that, living in LA, and just being Black and all that. Like, you definitely do have a different childhood growing up than someone who does not have to go through being Black. And that's with everyone else's culture and stuff like that. And when I say these things, I mean, as a child, and I had to learn about violent things that white America has done and preyed onto my culture. So there's going back in time, obviously, slavery and stuff like that. But in turn, with slavery, they don't teach you anything else educational that happened. It's just slavery, which is a very violent, gruesome time that you cannot take back. And after slavery, they just are like, okay, slavery was abolished, and segregation, no more Jim Crow laws, now we're fine. Which is not the exact truth, because most of the violent things that I learned about as a kid happened when, I was a child. I was not alive, obviously, for the LA riots, but my family members were, and they are not they're not old. They're not old. So it's kind of just like history and learning about violence and stuff like that. I don't think it's such a bad thing. It actually helps you grow and understand. It could help you understand your culture. It definitely did help me understand where the deep and rooted activism comes from the Black community, because it's just watching the people around you who look like you die on a daily basis and stuff like that, before even social media and all that, is very, very, very hard. So when you're a parent, along with, like, trying to teach your child to be good and stuff like that, like, learning how to deal with violent acts can help them in the long run. When you take away everything negative that could happen to them, such as, like, them getting hurt, or I'm trying to think, like, watching stuff on TV that can be sane for young adults rather than, like, like children and stuff like that. But you could easily teach your child that these things are not okay. And honestly, stripping your child of this freedom, playing, video game, violent so-called video games and stuff like that, isn't as proactive as people think it is, because it could honestly damage them in the long run. So another thing, okay, back to positive light of social media and stuff like that, is normal children love superheroes in comic books. They are very passionate about these superheroes. There are theme parks. Disneyland has Marvel. Six Flags is not Marvel. It's DC. These characters are around everywhere, and they're universal characters. And these superheroes have character traits and costumes and everything. And the thing with superheroes is that being a superhero is essentially unattainable, but kids can think whatever it is that they want to think of themselves as, and keeping their secret identity. And this could further help them critically understand in the future and stuff like that, that they could be their own superhero. Okay, thank you.